area, say like an economic monopoly, and they dominate that, and they will not allow competition in on that. So he became interested in monopolies and talked to us about it. And so that's what I want to talk to you about today. In particular, the financial monopoly that has become obvious to everybody. How many of you know that we live under a financial monopoly system right now called the Federal Reserve System? Now, these central banks, this fiat money, as it's called, money that's backed by nothing, has been around for a long, long time. Every time that a government, a culture, a country has allowed this central banking monopoly to come in and get control of their country, they have not survived. Did you hear me? They've not survived. They tried it, this Babylonian system, in the Grecian Empire, and they failed. Their money became corrupt. It lost all value, and while at the outside, when the money system started, prosperity was fantastic. Times were good. And we've had a run in this country for the last several decades of unprecedented prosperity. The stock market didn't even know what it was to go down hardly. Ever since the crash, we've been going up and up and up and up. And so we find ourselves at the end of this monopoly money system. The Romans tried it, and they failed. They went down. England came on a monopoly system, and they're just a shadow of what they were at one time. At one time, the British Empire, it said that the sun never sets on the British Empire. Well, they're not that anymore, and the reason being is because they were under a fiat money monopoly system. Well, that system is surely failing, but right now it has locked its death grip upon the United States of America, and that's what I'm concerned about. Let me just read you something out of the Bible here that talks about this system that I'm referring to. It's found in James 5, verse 1. Go to now, you rich men, weep and howl for your miseries that shall come upon you. Your riches are corrupted, and your garments are moth-eaten. Your gold and silver is cankered, and the rust of them shall be a witness against you, and shall eat your flesh as it were fire. You have heaped, this is the central bankers right now, you have heaped treasure together for the last days. Behold, the hire of the laborers who have reaped down your fields, which is of you kept back by fraud, crieth, and the cries of them which have reaped are entered into the ears of the Lord of Sabaoth. You have lived in pleasure on the earth, and been wanton. You have nourished your hearts as in a day of slaughter. You have condemned and killed the just, and he doth not resist you. If that doesn't describe what's going on right now with this financial monopoly that we find ourselves in. Right now, the Federal Reserve, which is neither federal, there's nothing federal. It's no more federal than Federal Express. It's a bank. And what do banks like to do? They like to lend money and make interest off of it. This Federal Reserve is neither federal nor does it have reserves. And our corrupt fathers, our leaders, have given this private bank and the board that runs them the legal authority to counterfeit money. And that's what they've been doing. Money that is backed by zero, nothing, just yours and mine, my perceived value of it. To the point now that this system has run its course, just like it did in Britain, just like it did in Rome, just like it did in Athens and other cultures. It's run its course, and we are about to go down financially and fall off into an economic third world status. The stock market is not coming back, friends. It's going to go down to about 3,800. It's going to stay there for years. Get your money out of these 401ks and all this junk. Get it out. It's going down. It's not coming back. You keep holding on. Your stockbrokers tell you it's going to come back, but it's not going to come back. You hear me prophesy it today, December the 22nd, 2008. Take protective measures, financially speaking. It took this country 200 years. Let me give you some facts and figures about this money monopoly. It took this country 200 years to get $1 million in debt for our federal government to have, a 1 trillion, T as in terrible. Took 200 years for us to become $1 trillion in debt. Now we accumulate $1 trillion in debt in just a little over a year's time. 15 months is what it's happening right now as I speak. By the time, so for 200 years up into the Carter administration, by the time Reagan was through with his 2 terms, we were 2.7. 200 years to accumulate a trillion. Just in 8 years of Reagan, we went up 2.7 trillion. Now we spend $2.5 billion a day. We borrow, we have to borrow $2.5 billion a day, every day, for this country to service the debt and to stay in business. Right now, we spend $10 billion a month on the war in Iraq. Right now, our total debt in this country is $1 quadrillion. You don't even know what that is. I can hardly say it. Trillion is something I'm not used to saying. Right now, we are $1,000 trillion in debt. How are we ever going to pay that? There's not enough money in the world to cover that.